Welcome to Happy Hour, everybody. It's Mix at 3, and happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yeah. Yay. Welcome to our show.
Right on the cusp of a what looking to be a really good-looking weekend. By the way, temperature-wise, might be, I don't want to jinx this, the last good weekend before it gets really humid and hot and over the top.
Tim Strong said this morning, like fall-like temperatures in the mornings. And yes, when I went to the gym.
How dare you, sir? Good day. That's just.
But when I went to the gym this morning, it was kind of chilly.
It was. Yeah. I got up early this morning to let the dogs out, and I opened up the door and I went, ooh. That's a little brisk, baby.
That's exactly what I did.
So, good weather to be out and about. If you're doing things, there are a lot of events that are going to be happening.
You have any plans?
Yeah. Well, I was actually about to ask you that first.
Well, tonight I'm going to watch the cutest ballerinas dance.
Yes.
Yeah, so my 5-year-old is performing tonight. I cannot wait to see it. But that's pretty much the plan, the big plan that I have for the week.
Is that the Augusta West?
Yes.
The Augusta West dance?
Augusta West dance, yeah. And then just doing stuff in the house that we've been pushing. So not too crazy.
I actually wanted to. Don't show my wife this. I was thinking I wanted to do some things at the house. We needed to go. Well, now there's so much going on. She wants to go to the Lavender Festival in Barnwell, so I think we're going to check that out. And then we have a going away party for a friend that afternoon, and then we're trying to decide what we're doing Saturday evening. So I don't know. Why don't you tune in Monday? You'll find out what we did, huh?
Exactly, yes.
We got a lot of stuff planned here for you today from a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
including a little visit from our friend Signature Mike coming up, too. Let's get right on into the meat of it now. Costco's new chief financial officer has a reassuring message for inflation-weary customers. Don't worry about the price of the $1.50 hot dog soda combo. It's okay.
It's okay. So with Costco's leadership change and other long-time deals like Trader Joe's 19-cent bananas and Planet Fitness $10 membership ending amid a rising inflation, some had speculated about the future of Costco's $1.50 hot dog. But here's the good news, it's not changing. So the price has remained the same since 1985.
Good Lord.
I was shocked when I saw this.
Is that a typo? 1985 was $1.50?
Yeah.
Well, that was inflation back then.
That was
now you look at that and go, good Lord. Now, this is good for us just because our station is literally walking distance to Costco.
Yes. Yeah.
And I can't tell you the number of employees here that will just jump in their car and they'll run over there and they'll grab something back and they've got a chicken bake or they got a hot dog or they got the turkey sandwich. Us included.
Yes.
Seriously, the people know us by first name now at Costco.
Yes.
And if we walk in there with our badges, sometimes people will stop us and asking for where something is on the aisle.
Yeah.
The thing is, we know where it is, so we actually do help them. So that's okay.
Exactly.
You're welcome, Costco.
Right. $1.50 for hot dogs. It's not changing.
No. And the soda, too.
Yeah.
Hey, a new study from Sweden shows a possible link between tattoos and a form of cancer called malignant lymphoma. Researchers found people with at least one tattoo presented with the cancer 21% more often than people without any ink on them, and it's not clear exactly why.
So one theory is a tattoo can cause a low-grade inflammation that triggers cancer. Another is the ink itself gets into the lymph system, which is already known to happen sometimes.
Now, many experts say the study doesn't really show a statistically significant increased risk. One big problem is there was no difference in risk between people with one tattoo and those who were all covered up with them, had the whole sleeve.
Yeah.
Critics and the study's authors both agree more research should be done on the topic.
Yeah, according to the Pew Research Center, nearly 1/3 of all people in the U.S. have at least one tattoo. At least one.
I know one statistic. One half of this duo has a tattoo. And it ain't me.
I was going to ask, so who is it?
Yeah, I threw you out there. That's okay.
Yeah.
I
have two.
I'm 51 years old. I'm almost 52. I haven't had a tattoo yet. I did radio for 30 years. You would think I would be like sleeved up and everything.
Yeah.
No. My family, oh yeah.
Mine are small.
The boring one?
Mm-hmm. Do you have tattoos, Joe? I don't think I've ever seen.
No, I don't think Joe has a tattoo either, our director in there. All right, it's becoming increasingly expensive to retire here in the U.S., said everybody. Over the last 30 years, the number of Americans looking to settle outside the United States That has tripled, according to a poll. Because of that, more Americans are looking to retire abroad. But as good as it sounds to retire on a white sandy beach or enjoy gelato in a piazza, the simple life may actually include a lot of red tape.
That's because people should think about estate planning, currency, taxes, and their investments before making the leap. So experts also say people who choose to make the move sometimes end up feeling isolated and lonely and leaving behind family and friends. So all can try and create a whole new life in a short space of time.
Now, here's the thing. You being from Brazil.
Yeah.
And you moved to the States, and your family still lives in Brazil now. Now, your family's here, but now, when you retire, do you plan on staying in the States, or do you plan on going someplace else? I know it's way far down the line.
It's way far now. But a lot of things that they're mentioning about retired people, I can relate as a younger age, because I went through a lot of these things. It's not as easy to move to a different country.
Right.
But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I think I'm going to go back home when I retire.
I plan on moving to the nursing home. Or Costco. It'll be that one or the other. Hey, coming up, we're going to be talking about scents for your home, the SC kind, and how it can elevate your space and add overall design aesthetic. That's coming up next here on Mix It 3. Well, most of us think nothing of lighting a scented candle when we take a bath, if you burn in some incense next to your yoga mat, or even spritzing room spray when your homes need a little freshening up, right? Well, today we're talking about scents for your home, indoor and out, with mists and candles, and we have our friend Michael Seward here. Signature Mike is back in the house and in the kitchen with us here today. Good to see you, sir.
Good. Always great to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk about why interior fragrance is essential during your interior design.
Well, a lot of people were so busy making houses attractive, making them pretty, but part of that whole experience is the aroma as well. I mean, there's nothing worse than maybe going to someone's house and there's cat smells or dog smells or kid smells or whatever.
Don't come to my house.
So it's kind of nice, and there's so much on the market out there, but it really has to speak to us individually. It's a very individual thing. You know, we go to these great hotels and you walk in the lobbies and they smell so good.
Right.
And I was telling Nathalia earlier, you know, a lot of times I'm like, what is that scent? And they're like, oh, we have the matching candle. But you get the candle, it doesn't smell like what they pipe into that hotel.
Yeah.
But it's all about sensory and the senses, taste, smell, all of that. So just so many things on the product, on the industry right now. So we were talking about citronella that has that horrible pungent smell. But this is a pineapple citronella, so it smells so nice and fresh.
It really does.
We haven't quite installed our smell-o-vision. Take our word for it.
We need a scratch and sniff or something. So, and it comes in a variety, and and these are great gifts. I speak to a lot of people on what not to do in design, and I always tell people, don't buy something for someone for their home unless it's something like this, a candle that you can burn and it's disposable, as opposed to a decorative item that people may not like. So, you know, we have nice decorative little tubs, gift sets of little things, and that there. We have decorative candles. Hides are so popular these days, and so they smell really good. They're a little more expensive because of these hides. We sell a lot of hide furniture, chairs and sofas and things, leathers. So these look really great in those settings, and they smell really good too. Such a variety of those. There's decorative little candles. How sweet, cute is that? Could be used in a bathroom. You talked about spa or the bathroom. That would be fantastic. The Nest product is so popular, and they just have so many different scents. This one is called Linen, and it's a very light, clean smell.
Oh, yes.
You know, a lot of men don't like all of these fruity smells, and you know, in the autumn we have pumpkin and those autumnal smells, and then Christmas we have all of those. Fur and all of that, Fraser fur. This is a gentleman scent. Talking about gentlemen, it's called charcoal. But smell that; it smells charred almost. But that's a more masculine scent. And look at the container.
It's like when I cook. Charred.
It would look great in an office, in a home office, in a more manly or man cave, that kind of thing. But I mean, there's something for everyone. Then we have these great misters. And look at this. It changes. This one particular changes colors, and it has this great mist that comes up. And you know, when we plugged this in instantly, this started smelling really good. You drop these essential oils in, and they offer spa collection, healing collection, several scents in those. So you have options. You can mix those if you want to get it exactly as you like.
Mike, I'm reminded of the idea that, like, if somebody's selling their house or they're showing it off, you know, sometimes they'll bake cookies or they'll have a pie.
Yes.
You can do this and not have to worry about it.
Absolutely. I do a lot of model homes, and we put coffee beans out in the kitchen sometimes. That smells good. Cookies, absolutely. But yeah, it's all about senses, clean smells, fresh smells. Absolutely.
One thing interesting that you said, that we can use scents not only for our homes, but outside our homes too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's what these great citronellas are for, especially with the mosquitoes that we have here. But outside, yes, this mister works great. And a lot of our outdoor patios now, we have curtains and things that close. I said curtains. I'm a designer who said curtains. Window treatments that close. And I know I sound so old school. But, you know, and something like this mister, it keeps it contained in those spaces, in a screen porch or something like that. Yes, absolutely.
When you're choosing a fragrance, why is it so important to consider the overall aesthetics? I mean, are you including colors? You're including, you know, the actual particular rooms that you're in?
Well, as you see, a lot of these are very neutral. They fit with any room decor at all. And then some are a little more suggestive in a style or theme. But again, it's about the scent and what feels good to you and what you think feels good for your guests as they come to your home as well.
Yeah, because you wouldn't put like apple cinnamon in your bedroom, right?
Absolutely. I'm not a fan of candles that smell like something you'd eat, but a lot of people are. Right. You know, in the fall especially, you know, we have the pumpkin chai and the apple and all of that, you know. And Christmas, I like that because it brings back memories, you know. So I like the Christmas.
My wife is a huge lavender fan. Most of the year it's lavender. Christmas time, we're looking at the cinnamon smells and you know, the more of the fall feeling. Never any pumpkin spice.
Keep that in your chai latte or something.
Exactly.
And like, why interior designers and homeowners also should consider scents as a key element in the house?
Well, because again, it's a sensory issue that when it just creates an experience. Let's say,
I like that.
You know, visually we have that with our decor, and then with this, it kind of completes the entire overall aesthetic of the room.
Yeah.
In terms of, and we might have touched on this a little bit, but in terms of, say, relaxation, there are certain scents that work. If you're trying to be more boisterous and more energetic, there are other scents that work for you.
Absolutely. So there are some calming ones, like, you know, these. Like I said, the healing, the spa. I admit I get facials, and she asked me what oil. Do I like patchouli? Do I like mint? Do I like? But I asked for mint the other day, and she said mint is an alert. We don't want to do mint. So we want to do eucalyptus or patchouli or something like that. So yeah, that's a very good question.
Got to remember that next time.
Yeah.
Well,
I love the tips. And now our studio smells amazing.
It really does.
You can come back down, especially after the dog segments. This is so much better. This is so much better. Mike, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming up, it's Melanoma Awareness Month, and we're raising awareness for this dangerous and silent killer. How you can prevent it, how you can detect it, and what are some of the treatment options. We have the answers for you next after the break. May is Melanoma and Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and even though it's the last day of the month, it's still a time to shine the spotlight on the most common cancer in the United States, skin cancer. It's estimated that every day about 9,500 people in the U.S. are diagnosed with this particular type of cancer. Physician assistant Morgan Cummings with Evans Dermatology joins us now in the studio with more information. Good to see you, Morgan.
Good to see you guys too.
Let's get right back to the bare bones of this thing. What is melanoma?
So melanoma is a skin cancer that arises from the melanocytes, which are the cells in your skin that produce pigment. And so when you have an abnormal proliferation of those and too many of those, you can get a melanoma.
And are any different types of melanoma?
There are different types of melanoma. Nodular tends to be one that is more aggressive. Most of the time we're hopeful that we find them in the in situ phase or superficial phase. So that means it has not gone any deeper than the superficial layer of the skin that you can see. Once we take a biopsy, you get staging on a melanoma. The particular stages help us determine what treatment you need.
Why is it so important that people know about melanoma?
Because it is a rapidly growing tumor. It can be life-threatening, so those are the tumors that will change very quickly, so we need to be able to get them off of your skin and treated promptly.
And what is the biggest symptom of melanoma?
So any new rapidly growing spots on your skin need to be checked. There is a small percentage of melanomas that can be linked to hereditary family areas, and so people who have a first-degree relative, second-degree relative with a melanoma history, sometimes they do follow the same kind of skin paths on other people in your family, and so making sure that you're getting your skin checks every year is very important. If you used to be a tanning bed user, if you're like to be out in the sun, those increase your risk of melanoma.
I think that's why it's so dangerous, because it's such a silent, type of cancer.
Which I made that mistake. I was a tanning bed person. I ended up with a melanoma at 24, so you got to make sure that you're watching.
Hey, I'm a ginger. We don't tan. We burst into flame.
Right, you
so
burn.
I completely get that.
Yes.
Is there a concern for life expectancy for someone with melanoma?
It can be if it's not caught promptly. It can be life-threatening, so it's important to make sure that we're starting those treatments early. We now have some resources that do help us stratify your risk for your melanoma versus the genetics that they have on file for everyone else, and so that can get you immunotherapy faster than you would have in the past.
Okay, and then how can we prevent melanoma?
Making sure we're wearing sunscreen. Don't go to tanning beds, and then make sure that you're not staying outside too long. I know it's summertime, everybody wants to be out there, but reapplying that sunscreen every hour and a half to 2 hours is very important.
One thing that she mentioned to us one of the times she came here, that we should put a sunscreen because of the lights in the studio.
Just the lights.
Hey,
So yeah,
really?
Every day.
Okay, good news. Now I do. Before I put my makeup on, I put sunscreen.
Yes, every day I put sunscreen on my face, my hands, because people don't even realize, like driving in the car, that's the primary spot that people are going to get skin cancers to.
I always, the left arm is always redder than the other one.
Yes,
exactly, for that reason. Let's talk some treatment options that that you have at Evans Dermatology for this.
So of course, initially it's a biopsy. So any concerning spots that we see on a skin check, anything that worries somebody that comes in, we will take off, we send it off to pathology. If it comes back as a melanoma, of course, it depends on the staging as far as the treatment. We can do excisions in our office. If we feel like you're going to need a lymph node biopsy or further work with an oncologist, we send you to a derm surgeon.
Okay, and let's share the contact for Evans Dermatology for those interested in booking an appointment.
Absolutely.
Or just checking for more information.
Yeah, so evansderm.net is our website. You can go on there to book appointments even as a new patient. If you want to contact us by phone, it's 706-922-3376.
All right, it is, like we said, the silent killer here. Definitely want to keep an eye on that and look for those signs. Morgan, thank you so much. We appreciate all the info. May is Mental Health Month, and we are closing the month out with a question. How do we assign ourselves or others mental health labels without professional assessment? We're speaking with a clinical psychologist about that after a short break. Mix at 3 will be right back. Well, you can spend about 5 minutes on social media before you start seeing self-diagnoses of ADHD and autism and even narcissism just all thrown around.
Yeah, but what does it actually mean to self-diagnose? So Dr. Aggie is a psychologist, and she's joining us now. Hi, Dr. Aggie. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So why is self-diagnosing becoming so popular?
So social media is becoming more and more popular and more accessible. So things like TikTok and Instagram, people have more access to it. So when you give people more access to things, they start sharing information about what they know about their own diagnosis or what they're aware about other people's diagnosis, and it just becomes more available to the public to access.
Let's talk about the actual risks, those potential risks of self-diagnosing.
So there are tons of risks. Although it's great to have access to resources of social media and be able to get information that way, oftentimes what happens is people will view a TikTok video, see some of the characteristics of said diagnosis, and then they might say, oh, that's so me, I have ADHD, or that's so me, I have OCD. And the risk is, obviously, we're not, they're not professionals diagnosing, so they might be putting themselves in a category that's not appropriate for them, and then subsequently doing things related to said diagnosis to be able to function better, but it could backfire if it's not the correct diagnosis.
For sure.
And not only for mental diagnosis, but also medical diagnosis as well, too. It's a very bad way to go.
Very dangerous, yes. And Dr.
Absolutely.
Dr. Aggie, are there any benefits to self-diagnosing?
There definitely can be benefits to self-diagnosing. The first one is, you guys, I'm sure have heard of this, awareness of the situation, right? So observing like TikTok videos and Instagram, it gives people the idea of, oh, there might be something going on. So even though it's not a full-blown diagnosis, it can be helpful in allowing the person to gather more information in terms of identifying these are the characteristics I should look out for. But the issue comes where then they identify themselves and I start identifying themselves as said diagnosis rather than going to the mental health professionals to get the appropriate diagnosis.
Dr. Aggie, how can people balance this whole self-awareness and professional diagnosis, especially for conditions like ADHD or autism?
It's a tricky balance, but my rule of thumb is gather your information from wherever you can. So get the information. We all do it, right? We all Google information whenever we hear there's a concern. So get your information, get curious, gather all your data, and then take that information and go to a trained professional. So this doesn't mean your neighbor. This doesn't mean, a best friend that you're just venting with and you want to, just, hey, I have these symptoms. Do you think I have ADHD? Yeah, you do. No, don't go to your friend. Don't go to your neighbor. Go to a qualified professional. So that's a medical professional, that's a psychologist, someone that could then take the characteristics that you've identified and translate that into something that is a diagnosis and, more importantly, intervention that you can get as a result of the diagnosis.
All right. And we are hearing it from a licensed professional, psychologist, Dr. Aggie. Thanks for joining us and sharing the information here about the negatives and positives of self-diagnosing. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Have a beautiful afternoon.
All right. Appreciate it,
Great
Dr. Aggie. Very true. And guess what? Every month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And make sure that you watch yourself, take care of yourself and your others, okay? Have yourselves a great weekend, everybody. We got Investigate TV Plus. That's coming up next.
All right. You see you on Monday. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody.